Good morning, everyone. It's a little bit early. Today's going to be pretty short because I have a very, very busy day ahead of me, but we'll see how much I can do. Probably about an hour. If I'm out of it, it's just because I'm very tired and my pain meds haven't kicked in yet. Sarah, Babel, Vante, good morning. How are you today? I'm not sure if I like this portrait. Here, I'm going to swap to the canvas. Let's see here. It's just a bunch of doodles of Cyril that I did last night because it's going to be a pretty short stream and I'm very exhausted. I'm not sure which of these I'm going to work on. I kind of I kind of really like um, this one. I think he looks really cute in this one. So maybe I'll work on that one. Not sure yet though. I forgot to put a countdown on Instagram again. Dang it. Okay, well, I guess I should do that. Hold on. Let's see here. Oh no, pain meds. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a little under the weather. But that's all right. I'm sure it'll pass. It's always when life starts getting really busy that your body just goes, I'm gonna cause problems. But that's okay. I've had a whirlwind week, so I was already exhausted. But I did get to test drive some cars yesterday, which was good because I'm trying to narrow down a future purchase. Oh, my phone's gonna die. Oh no. Okay, let's see if I can do this as quickly as possible. I like the eyebrow raise. I really want to do, I mean, it's no secret that Cyril gets pretty much the same expression of vague annoyance every time I draw him. So I wanted to do, with this sketch page, I wanted to do like different expressions and so on. That's probably a little too ambitious for how I'm feeling at the moment, but we'll see. Okay, let me go ahead and put this. I'm gonna have to plug my phone in. Depending on how things go, I might have to make like a approximately 2 hour drive, so I might have to end stream a little bit earlier than it already is going to be, considering it's going to be a short stream. But we'll see. I have to keep an eye on my phone to kind of get an idea. The ideal situation would be convincing someone to drive for me so I don't have to actually do the driving, and I can at least try to try to use those 2 hours to write. Don't know if that's gonna happen though. Disgust is his favorite emotion. It's true. Hopefully you feel better soon. Thank you. I hope so. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna work on... I don't even know really what the big plan was. I wanted him to be leaning against something as kind of the only... leaning against like a wall or like a pillar or something. Having his bad habit break. His bad habit smoke break. I was also debating whether or not in this sketch over here, I was debating if this was going to be like his hunter attire or the full cassock. You can tell that I've sketched in the full cassock as if he's wearing his whole thing, but I don't know. Maybe I will change that. We'll see. Oh, and some other news before I forget. Just in case I vanish off the face of the planet, don't be alarmed. It's because my classes have started for the semester. So I'm going to be very busy and probably relatively quiet until December when my classes end. I want to cry, it's so hot here. Ooh, how hot is it for you? It's been pretty hot here as well. I think it's supposed to be, I can't remember if today's gonna be one of the cooler days or if it's supposed to still be ridiculously hot. Back to school, stay strong, you got it. I'm gonna do my best. Good luck, thank you. I will do my best. I'm not excited about going back to school, but I I think it's important. I did evidently because if you take nothing else from the life lessons that I give you, which is largely to do as I say and not as I do, except for in this case where I push really, really hard and basically not harass, that's not the right word. The better word is advocating for oneself, which is important to do because I was told about this promotion, months and months ago. You guys know how long ago I mentioned this. It's been months about this promotion that I interviewed for, everything. You know how long it's been. Well, Thursday evening, kind of towards the end of my shift, I really pushed my boss and said, you need to get me information about the promotion in writing. It can't be word of mouth because I can't use word of mouth like as a reference when it comes to, like receiving back pay for work that I'm doing and not being paid for and so on. And my boss kind of had a mental breakdown when I started pushing her about it. Uh, I won't get into too many of the details, but it kind of to say that to use the word threat, I do not think would be fair, but it definitely kind of turned into a, well, it sounds like you don't want the promotion or you don't want the job, which was not fun. But the point is that because I pushed her about it, even if she, had a little bit of a mini breakdown in the process, because I pushed her about it, I got my answer the following day. So now I know what my new pay is going to be. I accepted the promotion. I didn't do any kind of negotiation in terms of salary because I'd already pushed for it as much as I had, but also I am going to be. The promotion was for 3 different positions. They're the same rank and the same role, but they're each under different supervisors. So I applied for the one that was under my specific supervisor because that's the team that I'm on. So of those 3 positions of those 3 people being promoted to this position, I'm the one who's going to be the highest compensated. So I didn't feel like I wanted to negotiate on salary. I felt like I was in the best position that I could be anyway. So that was my Thursday slash Friday headache. And that doesn't even get into the writing shenanigans that I had to deal with on Friday. Friday morning, I think. Was it Thursday morning or Friday morning? I think it was Friday. Whatever. It has been an interesting week to say the least. Rotting Beach, welcome in. How are you today? I'm going to clip this. So that's a sort of good update. I only say sort of because I will know for sure on Monday if they've actually done all the paperwork to promote me. But it's a step in a good direction. I actually have what my new salary is going to be. Like I have an actual amount that's been given to me. So on and so forth. And I did formally accept the position, like I was actually verbally offered it and accepted, so that's good. We're slowly but surely getting there. But yes, life lessons with Dia. Advocate for yourself, because especially like if you're in a corporate situation like I am, they're gonna try to make you do a bunch of work without paying you, so. Starting to do job interviews? Well, good luck. Do your best. I guess I could start. Well, no, I'm not going to start cleaning it up yet because I have some more to do. This is a really rough hand, but it'll get the job done. His thumb should be a little bit lower, but it's all right. here. There we go. Good, good. Here you had an eventful day. I sure did. Good is positive news. Thank you. Congratulations on the promotion. Sorry it had to come this way. Thank you very much. IT security, it's a good field to be in. Definitely do your best. Yes, I've been waiting months. And I'm sure work is only going to get busier because we've just had basically, without getting too into the weeds of the details because it's not important. The company that I work for has multiple accounts, is what we call them, where they do different work for different clients, which are usually different states in the United States. So currently I work for one of the various California client accounts, but I will actually be working primarily with the Alaska state account and possibly the Washington, D.C. account. So I have a lot of learning to do because they're entirely separate entities and I have to learn all of their requirements and I have to do all of their trainings and all of that. So it's going to be very busy, but it's going to be a good learning experience, I hope. I'm doing this at the same time as college, so lots of learning for me in the immediate future. What about writing shenanigans went south? Oh boy. Let's just say that I'm down to one beta reader now. So that was a whole kerfuffle. I'll regale you with the details another time, but let's just say that I woke up whichever morning it was. I don't know if Babel's in here, if she's able to hear me right now, but for whichever morning it was, it was either Thursday or Friday, or Saturday. I don't know. The days blurred together this week. But I think it was one of those mornings, and my phone just started like beeping at me like crazy. And I normally have my notifications quieted for apps that I use regularly. So things like my email, sending me updates or anything like that isn't going to ping at me and like wake me up because I have that quieted. Um, but turns out this particular beta reader was messaging me through an app that I didn't have that setting sorted on because I don't use that app very much. So I woke up to just like this barrage of this is horrible, this is offensive, you should be ashamed of yourself, yada yada yada, like all this sort of like this whole essay about how bad my writing was. So, and that was at like 3 in the morning. So I was like, why the hell is my phone going off? Is that my alarm? So like my brain, when I hear my phone going off, is like, that's my alarm. It must be 6 in the morning. So I need to get up. It's time to wake up. And then I look at it and it's 3:15 or whatever it was. And it's not my alarm. It's the stupid messaging app that this person is writing me essays on. And I'm like, what is going on? It's fine. I just politely said, thank you for your time. I don't think this is the right work for you. Have a nice day. But then I tried to go back to bed. But yeah, that was my adventure that I woke up to, whatever morning that was. I want to say it was Friday morning, but yeah. So anyways, they're no longer beta reading for me, and I am no longer beta reading for them. And once again, I was too nice to someone. I will never learn my lesson. I was too nice to someone, and they took advantage of it, and they got more work out of me than I did out of them. But that's all right. It's just the way things go sometimes. She did get to the pepper. And the thing is that I put a very exhaustive list of like disclaimers, trigger warnings, and everything on anything that I write. If you open Immolation, I literally have a copy of Immolation right next to me. If you open Immolation, for first pages that you can hear the paper, right? Hopefully you can. It's part of my bit. So we have the title page, we have the copyright page, we have the dedication, and then immediately we have the disclaimers and the content warnings. And this reader, she got to that in the work in progress that I sent to her. She saw the trigger. They're in every version that I send, an exhaustive list. And she specifically commented and said, "Thanks for the warnings. I treat these like a menu instead of a warning." And I'm like, maybe you should have treated them like a warning because you clearly couldn't handle it. And I read 23 chapters of her piss poor. I'm sorry, I'm angry, so I'm not being very nice. I read 23 chapters of her material, and it wasn't that good, and I was really, really nice. I treated her work with a lot of grace that it did not deserve. And then she has the audacity to be like, "You should really be ashamed of yourself," at me for writing. Jesus Christ. It's fine. Everything's fine. I had a wonderful weekend. I know. So, Vante, I really should have seen it coming because one of the disclaimers, and I put this disclaimer on Immolation too, because it's Cyril has one setting, and it's being a perverted old man. And he deserves to be shamed for that. But also, this is the perverted old man store. I sell perverted old men. If you don't like that, then don't come into my store. So I always put an age gap disclaimer on any material that has Cyril in it, because he is a horrible person who can't contain himself, and he's going to make really bad decisions. And they spent the first... They only read... Okay, this is what I was going to say. I read 23 chapters of their work. They didn't even make it through 11 of mine, and they spent the first 10 chapters complaining about how they don't like Cyril because he's too old. And I'm just... that it was in the disclaimers. And yes, I know. The reason that they didn't stop reading, despite the fact that they were complaining and clearly not enjoying it, is because we were doing a manuscript swap, which is what authors or writers... This person hasn't published, so they're a writer, not an author. I know the reason that she wasn't explicitly saying, "I don't want to read this," is because we were swapping, and she wanted me to continue reading for her and providing critique. So that's on me. It was obvious, and I tried to give her benefit of the doubt, which you shouldn't do, because people never deserve it. So anyways, that's the story of how I wasted my time reading this really, really low quality manuscript and being way too nice to an author that didn't... A writer, she's not an author. Being way too nice to a writer that didn't deserve it. And got nothing in exchange for it, except for a really, really rude message at like 3 in the morning series of messages. So, anyways, that was that was my Friday. So it was quite the whirlwind because I went to bed Thursday really upset because I had pushed my boss and it hadn't really gone that well. She had not really, but also kind of threatened my job when I pushed. So I felt really bad going to bed Thursday, and then I think this is the order of the days went because again they blur together. And then I got woken up at 3 in the morning instead of my usual 6 by this stupid reader who couldn't handle the material that I gave them, despite my many warnings. After everything that I'd done for them, and then I get up and I go to work, and they're like, "Congratulations, you got the job." I'm like, I don't even have space to be happy about this right now. So anyways, that was my end of week, and then I spent pretty much all of yesterday test driving cars and researching and helping my parents slash extended family with the same things that I will be helping them with today. We have some family matters and some healthcare things going on that I have to help with, so very busy. I'd really like to write at some point this weekend, but don't know if that's gonna happen. We'll see. I really, really like this shirt for Cyril because I really like that I look. So the waist, the high waist trousers, right? And then the little poof of the shirt where it's tucked in, that's where like the serotonin is created. I love that. But you can't see it because his arm's in front of his torso. That's all right though. But still, just we know it's there. Was the book from last time? I'm not sure I understand the question. I'm working on a standalone dark romance novel that's going to be published under a different pen name, and that's what they were reading. So it's not something that I've like released. It's not something you can currently go buy or read. They were not. They were also not reading Immolation. I remember telling us people shouldn't order things they're allergic to off the menu. Yeah, it's it's like I am the bartender at the counter where you can order drinks about old men. If you don't like them, I'm cutting you off. You don't get to order a drink from my bar. Anyways, it is what it is. So I started with 3 beta readers. I'm now down to 1. But all 3 of the beta readers that I had for this round, quote unquote, that's the best word I can think of, this round of beta reading, were all people that approached me and said I would be interested in reading if you're available, or in the case of the other 2, they were other writers and they said I'd be interested in doing a manuscript swap if you're interested. Um, which right now I'm not going to take on any more manuscript swaps, just with well, first of all, with the proof that it's a waste of my fucking time, pardon my language. Um, but just because I know I'm going to be too busy with school and getting promoted and everything, I know I'm going to be too busy to do a manuscript swap. But I will need to post a call for like more beta readers, generally speaking. But I'll do that some other time. I'm probably also going to post that under the pen name rather than under Dia, just so I can start keeping them separate. Because if I get another crazy person like that, I don't want them to have direct access to the rest of my work. Was the book from last time the person that right? No, I don't think so. I don't think I spoke about. No, no, okay. These are 2 separate people. So I had 2 beta readers that were doing manuscript swaps, and both of them were pretty bad. But the other one was worse. So that's the one that I told you guys about before. Again, kind of To put it into perspective, the first manuscript that I mentioned here on stream that was really rough, it was so bad that I couldn't continue reading it, and I had to say, "I'm sorry, I can't read this. Thank you, but I'm not going to be able to read this." And that worked out fine because they also did not like mine, and they said, "Yeah, no, I don't want to read this. This is really bad." I'm like, "Okay, fair enough. So we don't like each other's writing. We're gonna, go our separate ways. Not a big deal." But with the person who just kind of flipped out on me Friday morning, the writing was, it wasn't good, but it wasn't as bad as the other person's. And when I say bad, I don't want to be mean. I am upset. I'm annoyed that my time was wasted and that I was disrespected in that way, but I don't want to be unnecessarily harsh on their writing. Both of the people that asked to do manuscript swaps are writers who have not yet finished or published a full manuscript. So they haven't completed their first book. They're still working on it. That's why they're asking for a swap. And they're beginners. And I would consider myself to be a beginner as well, but I am more of an intermediate beginner because I have finished and I have published one book. So I'm more of an intermediate beginner versus like a complete, green blood beginner. Nothing wrong with that. Everyone starts somewhere. But they definitely, both of them made mistakes that are very common for new writers. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it just means that you notice those things as you read. So both of them had that. It's not again, it's not necessarily a reflection of their writing ability in general. It's just where their skill is at their current time. Like any other skill, you do it more over time, you get better at it, yada yada. But yeah, it was to give you an idea, I read 23 chapters of her manuscript. Nothing happened. That's the nicest way that I can say it. Nothing happened. It was a big old waste of my time. Nothing interesting happened in the story. The characters weren't doing anything interesting. The author was just repeating lore for their world over and over and over again, and then nothing was happening. And then they were overwriting and over-explaining things that didn't need to be explained and focusing on things that weren't important. Like they focused on the female character's shoes a lot, to the point that I left a critique note saying, "You're focusing on the shoes a lot. Are the shoes important? Like, it did, like the color of her shoes, does that matter? Does it denote her rank? Are they magic shoes? Why are we focusing so much about how her shoes sound and so on and so forth?" And she just said, "No, I just like shoes." I'm like, all right, well that's not how this works. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, it wasn't great. It was readable. That's the bare minimum that I need, because I'm a really fast reader. I can get through a lot of material, and I can read really dense material as well, which is harder for some people. But yeah, it was just it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Maybe try beta reading for authors and not simply writers. Yes, but that still means filtering out, who, like I have to research them now. I have to ask them, have you published before? So on. When I could just put out a call and say, I'm looking for beta readers. I don't have time for manuscript swaps. So that way, no one's going to be asking me to read anything. And yeah, I don't know. Every single time I've done a manuscript swap, people have kind of let me down. So I'm just like, I don't think I want to do them anymore. Not that, you know, if someone, you know, came up to me and said, you know, hey, I'm interested in a manuscript swap, and let's say for the sake of argument that I'm in a different position than I am now in terms of time constraints, right? Like I've settled into my workflow. I don't have family or healthcare things that I'm kind of preoccupied with, so on and so forth, right? And someone comes up to me and says, hey, I would like to do a manuscript swap, and they send me, you know, like the first couple of chapters or whatever, and it seems interesting, then yeah, of course I'd at least try. You know, I'd try taking it on, and I give it an earnest chance and all that. I'm not even in a position to do that right now, um, mostly because of time constraints, and maybe that's a flaw on my part. I am very nice when I shouldn't be, as previously established. I should be meaner to people, because I keep just having my time wasted and getting people who cannot return the effort that I've given them, or the respect, frankly, if we're being honest. Like again, I treated her manuscript with a lot more grace than I should have. Like I've had people rip my writing to shreds and just be like, "This is horrible. You should quit." Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, even if I think something's really bad, I'm gonna try to be nice. I'm not gonna try to just tear them down because I don't like it. I'm gonna try to be kind and try to give them pointers. But other people are just like, yeah, no, fuck you, just quit. I'm like, all right, thanks, have a nice day. It's like, why do I bother? Why do I bother? But it is what it is. You have to have thick skin when you're a writer or whatever, and I get that, but I'm also like, I can have thick skin without also wasting my time on people who are not going to return the effort. So for now, as it is, I'm not going to be taking on any more manuscript swaps. If someone proves themselves worthy of, you know, reciprocal effort, then I'll reconsider. But until then, I'm just gonna hang out. You have the patience of a saint. I think I have too much patience. If I had been less nice, I could have saved myself a lot of hassle. I shouldn't have read that much of her work, and I should have been harder on it. I think by the end of it, by the end of the 23 chapters, I was getting sick of it, and so I started being a little bit, not mean, but a little bit more honest about the fact that, like, this is really boring, so I'm skim reading it, which I'm just like, which I really try not to do. I try not to skim read for people. But at the point that, you know, I was on chapter 23 and she was repeating the same stuff for the 17th time, I'm like, this is really, really boring. You've already explained all of this. The characters aren't growing or changing. It's been 23 chapters, nothing has happened, and every single minute detail takes 27 minutes to happen because you're overwriting it. It's fine. It is what it is. I bought your book paperback so I can post it with comments. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I have another friend who's annotating it in a similar way. She hasn't had time to finish reading it yet, but she kind of has sent me some pictures as she goes through it, and it's really fun. I think Immolation got a good review a couple days ago because someone from the doll community that I'm in messaged me saying that they finished it. So that made me happy. So that was nice. I'm glad people are reading it. actually. I do. Okay, fine. Patience is a great thing. People tend to bend mine like it's twig. Yeah. I really, I really wish I wasn't so nice sometimes. But I don't know. I guess it's just my nature. I have been the writer slash artist slash person in general who's been like ganged up on and bullied and stuff for the work that I'm like creating. So I have this idea of like I don't want to make other people feel the way that I felt when I was basically ganged up on and bullied by other people. And at the same time, I'm like, you know what? You deserve to be bullied a little bit. I don't really mean that, but I kind of do. And it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's a whole situation to be in, but here we are. I don't, I don't know. I don't just have some humility and respect for other people, I guess. I don't know. I I can't stand people who think they're like gonna be the next bestseller. I know someone else like this, who will remain anonymous, but there's this person that I know of who's in like some writing groups that I'm in and so on, and they frequently talk about how they're gonna be like the next J.K. Rowling, and they talk about how they're gonna be the next big beloved author, yada yada yada. But they haven't finished a single manuscript, and they've been in this writing group for years, and they haven't finished a single thing, like a single draft, like not even a first draft all the way through. They can't even finish one, and yet they talk like they're going to be like this next big thing, and that they're an authority on writing and they know better. At the same time, they make lots of typos, so it's just it's that sort of thing, right? Like I'm like I don't care so much about what you're writing. I might think it's bad. I might not like it because it's not to my tastes, but everyone's taste is subjective. But as soon as you think you're hot shit, especially when you're provably not, it just it rubs me the wrong way so much. But I meet a lot of people like that in writing circles, and it gets really exhausting. Is Cyril smoking deep in thought? Definitely. I'm not sure what he's deep in thought about, but he's thinking hard about something. Common courtesy is hard to find these days. Bullying back is necessary sometimes. I just want to hide. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. Babel saw my response to the essay that the person sent me, and I would like to say that I was like respectful. I would like to say that I was polite as you could be. But I also did tell them in no uncertain terms that they had wasted my time. So I don't know. Maybe that was mean. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I'm a pretty poor judge of whether I'm being mean or not. I try not to be, but how is he going to be holding that? Is he doing this or is he doing this? He's doing that. Okay. You couldn't see me, but I was putting my pencil between my stylus between my fingers like a cigarette, trying to figure out how the hell he's gonna hold this. You probably won't be able to see the filter too much. Delusion tastes good for some time. I was so angry at them. Yeah, they were rude. It was really, I don't know what the right word is. It was just unhinged, maybe is kind of the word. I'm not sure. But I told them in like no uncertain terms that they wasted my time and that they should have taken the trigger warnings seriously. Because yeah, it was just what a joke. Hopefully I find beta readers that can handle it, because I try to get multiple opinions, but they didn't even offer me good opinions for the parts that they did read and did quote unquote like. The other thing that they said is they really liked it up until the spicy scenes, basically, is what they were saying. They're like, oh, well, I really liked it up until then. So you need to go research and then rewrite it and then submit it to me for my approval. I'm like, who the hell do you think you? Fuck off. Pardon my language. I'm just like, what the hell? Not the first time I've had a writer basically do that. I mean, or sorry, well, she was a writer, but I meant beta reader. But like for example, I had someone do that with the Immolation manuscript. They told me to completely rewrite it from a different POV, and then it would be worth their time, basically, is what they told me. And I was just like, no, what the fuck is wrong with you? Sure, we'll make it brighter. I don't know. I'll think about it. They blatantly ignored all the labels that were clearly right there and said they thought of them as a menu. Yeah, it's. I just like maybe you should take them seriously. I mean, I included like an apology in the sense of like I apologize if my warnings were not clear enough. But I also called them out for like the warnings were right there. Dia, how much can I be mean? I'd prefer if you weren't mean at all. Have you written a 145,000 word manuscript? Have you published a book? I'd prefer you were not mean, especially not if you're going to be mean for funsies because you think it's funny. Am I helpful in my beta reading position? You are incredibly helpful, and I am so grateful. You go above and beyond because you not only give the beta reader like first impressions, which are super helpful, but you also go through and you clarify where things are like not clear because of the writing or things like that. That really helps. I'm extremely grateful. You were like the one in a million perfect beta reader. So thank you so much for the time that you've dedicated so far to reading. I really do appreciate it. I can't stop you, Sarah, from nitpicking the book and talking about why you did or didn't like certain parts. You're allowed to do that. I'm just asking that you not be purposefully mean because you think it's funny or because that's how you express your personality. Especially not to an indie writer who doesn't make a profit off of their books. It's not like you're reviewing J.K. Rowling or George R. R. Martin and, you know, they have they're sitting down and laughing at your review from atop their mountains of money. So, I only have a handful of reviews. So if you want to give it a 1 star because you think it's funny and that's how you show how quirky you are, that's going to tank my reviews. So, take that into consideration. I'm relieved to hear that. I'm sorry I can't really point out paragraphs you could remove because I'm enjoying them all. Well, thank you. I am glad that you're enjoying them. That makes me very happy to hear. You help a lot, especially with like I mentioned, I moved a couple of the scenes around because I don't write in chronological order. So moving things around and how they flow to an outside reader is really valuable input. So thank you very much with that because that's made a huge difference. My editor for Immolation has a hell of a time because Immolation is not written in chronological order either. So you can only imagine how crazy that is. Roller coaster rides are fun in all their forms. Well, hold on to your seat because it's gonna get crazier from where you are. I would say that you just passed like about the midpoint because I think in my original draft the dance which you've already read um, the party up at the castle, that is supposed to be about the halfway point. So it's gonna get crazy. The shenanigans are going to ensue from the point that you are at. It also gets spicier because I don't know how. This is the first romance novel that I've written, so I was asking a friend, how do I rate it in terms of like giving it peppers, quote unquote, because that's what she told me to do. She's like, you have to give it a pepper score so people know. And I'm like, all right, well, based off of the amount, I think is the big thing. So like based off of the amount of spice, shall we say, and I guess the intensity of it, it would be a 5. But then she said, "Oh well, if you score it out of 5, if you score it 5 out of 5, then we're not even there for the plot at that point." And I'm like, "Well, there is a plot. There is plot in this book." So I don't know. Maybe I have to take it down to a 4. I'm not entirely sure how that works. That's why I need to find some diehard romance beta readers so they can give me that opinion because I'm very new to this genre. Don't do too much spicy. Girl, this is my book. I decide how much spicy goes into it. This is not this is not a book for pearl clutchers, as we have previously learned whenever that morning was, Friday morning. There's a reason this book is being published under a different pen name. I'm leaning towards 4 at the moment. One of my friends who reads a lot of romance um, tried to explain the pepper thing to me, and I'm leaning towards like a 3 or a 4, probably 4. But I put 5 because 5 was like there's like a set number of spicy scenes, and if you go above that, it's considered 5. But I'm like, but there's still a plot, and I would imagine that if a quote unquote 5 spice girly picked up this book, she would be disappointed because there's way more plot in it than she's probably expecting. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to find the right number. Um, Vante, of what you've read so far, that is a small portion when it comes to the spice. There's more. The ratio of like spice to plot goes up in the second half of the book. We want all the spice. Well, it's Cyril, so you inevitably get some, because as previously established, he can't help himself. Teasing his workings. Send me more when you can. Hopefully you'll get some relatively soon. I've been working on it. Um, well, I'd say I've been working on it this weekend, but like I open the document and I stare wistfully at it as I walk across the blazing hot car parking lot as I try to test drive like 6 different cars. It's been a busy weekend, but we'll see. Hopefully. And I do need to start wrapping it up. It's already 10:15. I'm just kind of waiting for my parents to text me that they're home again. And then pretty much as soon as they do, I have to drop and I have to go over there. Hopefully I can finish what they need me to do in a relatively quick amount of time so I can get back home, but we'll see. I guess I could have his eye open, like his eye could be open and he could be looking that way. I don't know. We'll see. That's the other thing I was thinking of adding recently. I was talking to a couple of people, Avante, you were one of them, but Babel I was talking to as well about how I stumbled across this. Basically, what happened is that I stumbled across a book, an indie published book, like myself, and I noticed that the person who published it had also created an audiobook. And I was looking for something to read, and I don't read audiobooks or listen to audiobooks. I prefer like a physical paper book. That's just how I like to read. But I noticed that he had an audiobook, and I hate that this is something that I have to do, but I thought to myself, okay, before I buy his book, I want to make sure he's not using AI to create his audiobook. Because if someone's using AI, they probably used AI to write their book. Even if they didn't use AI to write their book, I still don't want to support someone who's using AI. That's just a choice that I make, and I hate that I have to be that suspicious of other people and other creators, but that's the situation that I was in when I stumbled across their book and I saw they had an audiobook. So I clicked listen to see if I could get an idea of whether the narrator was an AI bot or if it was a real actor. Because I could click on the actor's name, like on Amazon. Usually it'll tell you like narrated by whatever, and it'll have a link. But when I clicked that link, it didn't really take me anywhere. So I was like, that's kind of suspicious, but the voice sounds like an actor. So I did a little bit of digging, and I ended up finding the actor. I was able to find like his social media pages and his website and so on. And so just kind of going through that process led me to kind of think, I'm like, what if I did do an Immolation audiobook? I can't. Spoiler alert, I can't. There's no way that I can afford to do that. It's literally impossible. But what I was thinking is having, and this is something that I'd wanted to do for a while, having the prologue be read by like a voice actor. I'm not saying it has to specifically be this guy. I found his work and he sounded interesting. But having a voice actor read the prologue for Immolation and have like a video of that prologue on YouTube, and there would be some art in the background, maybe something that I paint myself or whatever. There would be some background, and then it would just be the audio that plays, and people could listen to the prologue, and it'd just be something nice to have on the channel. So maybe I'll do that because that's a project I can afford. That would not be insanely expensive because the prologue is pretty short. But yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I can pitch that project to a couple of voice actors, and that could be something that kind of goes on the YouTube channel that is some sort of buffer between the streams and the fully animated animatics that eventually that I'm working on, as if I don't have enough to work on already, but eventually it'll get there. Audiobook in the future, it's not likely. Unless I win the lottery or sell a hell of a lot of books or win the lottery again. I would probably, yeah, I would have to have a massive audience that buys the books, and possibly even then I would still have to do like a Kickstarter or something to fund it. To give you an idea, getting a single audiobook made costs somewhere in the realm of about $3,000. That's probably a low estimate for what it would cost to have Immolation read by a professional narrator. So yeah, that's not going to happen. I already spend about $1,500. I already spend about $1,500 to get the novel professionally edited. And I don't break even on that. I make zero profit from the books. I've sold a couple of hundred books. It's not enough to break even because I get about anywhere from 25 cents to about $5, depending on which format of the book is sold and from where. Yeah, so no, I do not make any profit off of the books. I've not even broken even, and I'm not going to shell out $3,000 for like 4 people to download an audiobook. That's just not something that I can justify doing. So yeah, that's not going to happen. I can dream about it though. I could daydream. And I think the prologue would be nice. And that's something that I can afford to compensate the narrator for, whoever the narrator ends up being. I've sent Babel the like audio sample the guy does. He tends to do more what I would call like cartoonish voices. So they're very over the top, they're very energetic, they're very lively, but he has a couple that are like more quiet narration type voices rather than like character voices. Because Immolation is not told from the point of view of a particular character, it's told by an omniscient narrator. So I just need like a narrator voice. I don't need a particular character or anything like that. So if I win the lottery, I will tell nobody, but there will be signs in Immolation audiobook. Yeah, and don't forget, $3,000 is just for one book, and there's probably going to be 3 books in the series. So, are any of you looking to donate approximately $10,000 to get those made? Because if not, sorry, it's that's not going to happen, unfortunately. Unless you know somebody who is sitting on $10,000 that they don't need. Yeah, unfortunately, I wish it was different, but it's not. I probably would not do. I wouldn't really consider an audiobook until and if, because I say if because I don't think it's going to happen. If I ever break even on my print books, then I will start considering an audiobook. But I have to break even at minimum on the print books before I even start considering an audiobook. And that itself, breaking even, is very, very far off. Babel, let's go buy a few tickets. I will be happy if I just break even one day. That would still mean a lot of books have to be sold. But yeah, I think the actor that I found, I think his voice, one of the voices that he does, would work as a narrator for Immolation if I put like the prologue on YouTube. The prologue is pretty short, so it's like a nice low investment way to like listen to a little bit of Immolation without like feeling, especially because there isn't really story in it. It's just like a little teaser for the book. It's a nice way to give people a little bit of the book without them feeling like they're being pressured to like continue reading it or something because they've been, you know, given some sort of cliffhanger or something like that. So it's a nice way for people to get a little bit of the book without feeling like they, you know, were kind of cheated out of getting more of it or whatever. Which is once again possibly me showing people too much grace and too much kindness, because yeah, I know people would just be mean if they could, but that's all right. Listen, one dream at a time. I'm gonna be doing well to just get the animatic that I'm currently working on done. It's a little, it's a little too ambitious. I really should have picked something easier, but we're in it now. So I keep changing it, which is normal, but also really frustrating because every time I change something, I have to like reset my progress. Because it's hard to tell as many moving pieces of a story when you don't have any dialogue or anything like that to work with. because it's supposed to be, well, it started out as being about Bronte and Cyril's childhood, and you do still see a lot of that, but it ended up turning more into, well, okay, how much on a scale of 1 to 10, how much spoilers are you okay with? What's the level of spoiler you're all right with? Good with spoilers. If you've read Immolation, you know some of this already. It's been hinted at, but basically the animatic that I'm currently working on has gone from focusing almost entirely on Bronte and Cyril as children to focusing more on, there's some of their childhood together in there, but it focuses more on how Cyril lost his eye and how he became Archbishop. So it includes a lot of moving parts. It includes seeing the two of them as children, or well, Cyril was already like a grown-ass man, but whatever, as children. It includes seeing them as children, and it includes seeing how he lost his eye and seeing how he became Archbishop, and how all of that is kind of connected, and so on and so forth. And so it's changed a little bit. So that's currently where it's at. There's a lot of, as you can imagine, because it shows him losing his eye. There's a fair bit of like action in it, which is very complicated to animate, even if you're only doing an animatic. And I have a lot of characters involved, so we'll see. It's an ambitious animatic, and I probably shouldn't have done that, but it's too late. I'm in it now. I think because my YouTube has grown a little bit, I think I can do premieres, I think is what they're called. So if I do that prologue of Immolation, I can probably do a premiere for it, which maybe that would be fun. Still fascinating. Well, I hope it'll be interesting. I hope it'll be fun. I'm still working out some of the kinks to it, but I have a pretty good storyboard for it, so that'll be good. Maybe if I can finally stop neglecting my Patreon, which is just languishing, I can put the storyboard on Patreon and people can see it early before it's actually quote unquote animated. But we'll see. Now I have the ebook and the normal book. Well, thank you for purchasing it. I really do appreciate that. I'll just go color all of it, why not? Uh, okay, there's my text. Alrighty. I don't know if we're gonna be doing the full 2-hour drive or not, but either way, I have to get going. So thank you very much for joining me this morning. I know it was early, so I'm really humbled that you guys would, take time out to come earlier. So I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Sorry I'm a little bit out of it today. Hopefully 2 weeks from now, things will be not so crazy. So thank you very much for hanging out. Thank you for supporting my work and for supporting the book. It really does mean a lot to me. And I will hopefully see you guys next time when I will be streaming at hopefully normal time again. So have a great rest of your weekend. Because I'm going back to college classes, I don't know how active I will be, but I will try to be hanging out in the Discord. And hopefully you guys have a wonderful week. I'll see you later.